Hello everyone, it's me again. Continuing on from last time, I'll be talking about my Cairns trip today. But before that, I want to quickly mention the cherry blossom season and an idea I got from a comment on the first video. Has anyone living in Japan gone to see the cherry blossoms this year? It's early spring and peak cherry blossom season at the moment, although they may be gone by the time I upload this video. I recently went to go see them to a famous place called Takato in Nagano. I've only come to Japan in the winter before, so it was my first time seeing cherry blossoms, and they were absolutely fantastic. So the comment on the first video was from a high school friend of mine. Thank you so much. It was regarding the cultural differences between Japan and Australia. A non-cultural difference that comes to mind would be the size of eggplants and capsicums. Japanese eggplants and capsicums are fucking tiny. It makes the Australian ones seem gigantic. This makes the process of removing the seeds in capsicums so much harder. In Australia, I could cut off the top, just rip out the middle, and a quick upside down shake would do the job, whereas in Japan, I have to take a lot more care. Apologies for the irrelevant topic. Anyways, cultural differences, right? The main difference that comes to mind would be the manners people have. The Japanese are generally very, very well mannered. This is likely due to the education system and the conformity that is taught at an early stage. Japanese people like to do as others are doing a lot more than Aussies do. This has a good and bad side to it. On one hand, customer service is really high quality and people are always being considerate of others. On the other hand, people are less likely to speak up even when they are uncomfortable if their surrounding doesn't. Customer service staff are trained to a very high standard and are likely to take shit from customers as well. There's a famous saying that refers to the way customers should be treated, and it goes, customers are gods. I think it's a little outdated and nobody really follows it or says it these days, but I think it's a good reflection of how Japanese people used to think of customer service and some degree of how that has been carried on. Another downside is that people are judgmental of others in the way they speak, dress, and act. Yet, Japan is super judgmental. I'm sure many of the Japanese people that I met in Australia know what I'm talking about, and perhaps some of you went to Australia for this very reason. However, I've also realized that this is starting to change recently, particularly in the younger generations, in both good and bad ways. Honestly, I could probably go on for hours on this topic, but I'll leave it here for now. I do like the topic itself, so I will keep mentioning them in future videos if I have an idea. Now, on to the main topic. We decided to go to Cairns because my girlfriend wanted to go diving in Australia before going to Japan. I had been once before with my family about 10 years ago, but I didn't remember much since it had been so long. Man, the Great Barrier Reef does not disappoint. Please, if you have the chance, go and check it out before pollution destroys everything. So, obviously, we were looking forward to the diving heaps, but apparently you're not allowed to fly 24 hours before or after diving, probably due to the difference in altitude and effect on your eardrums or some shit. I don't know. Because of that, we went diving on our second day and spent the first day walking around Cairns City and visited the aquarium, which was perfect timing because I was super tired after Sydney, as I mentioned last time, especially because I'd gotten about an hour of sleep the night before since I procrastinated packing until hours before leaving. Anyways, I think aquariums are pretty underrated. They're so relaxing and there's just something I really like about the atmosphere. Cairns Aquarium was quite amazing with a bunch of fish I'd never seen before, and a whole lot of snakes too. Reptiles are not exactly my favorite, but they're also pretty cool to see. Then we had Chinese food for an early dinner at a food court when we decided to do a final check of what we needed to take on our diving tour the following day. Then we realized that our booking had been cancelled due to a problem with the bank account. We got all panicky. We were like, oh shit, what do we do? What do we do? Right next to the food court was a travel agency that we rushed into and asked for any vacancies on the next day. Luckily, we were able to secure a tour for an extra 150 bucks or something, but it came with a few more benefits like upgraded lunch and unlimited snorkeling, so that wasn't too bad at all. The weather on the day was fantastic. We were able to see a lot of different kinds of cool looking fish, and an especially memorable one was the Napoleon fish. So, on the boat, there was a tanned camera woman who would visit you sometimes when you were snorkeling or diving. I only realized this after I saw all of the photos she took, but she was following this one particular Napoleon fish and would guide nearby divers to it. What she was also doing was pushing and shoving the poor fish's face left and right so it would fit into frame. I'm sure it didn't feel any pain. It's not like she was punching it or anything, but it was funny, and also the only reason everybody had a photo of them with the fish framed in it perfectly. So, thanks for that, fish. Since we woke up early and had been swimming all day, we were so exhausted by the time we arrived back to town that we decided to get takeaway at a franchise restaurant called Hero Sushi. We went all the way to Cairns and ate food we could find in Sydney, but it was good and kind of cheap, so no regrets. On our last day, we went to the famous Kuranda village or town, I'm not sure which one it is. It was cool, but I think one whole day was a little too much for us because it was a small town with some tourist-oriented shops, plus a koala garden, a butterfly sanctuary, and a bird world. But because Coffs Harbour has a butterfly sanctuary and neither of us really liked birds, we only went to the koala gardens. So we got a little bored towards the end. Also, personally, I think the Kuranda Railway is a little overrated. It was alright, but it wasn't as magnificent as all the ads and reviews make it seem. I like the Skyrail a lot more, although it's not really for people who don't like heights. We also happened to miraculously meet a friend we knew from Sydney on three separate occasions. We met her in town on the first day, then we saw her working at the Skyrail on the third day, then when we decided to eat at a Japanese restaurant at night, she was working there. Maybe Australia isn't so big after all. So that's how my time in Cairns and Australia came to an end. The morning after, we took a plane to the Kansai airport, and the reason we chose Kansai is because Universal Studio Japan is in Osaka, and we wanted to go there for a very long time. On the next episode of Joe Talks to Himself, I will finally enter Japan for the first time in 2 years and talk about my trip in Kansai. Thanks for watching. Bye.